Good day, everyone. This is Rita Choi from Asia HRM. I'm so glad to see all of you here today. Today is a continuation of our webinar from last week. As you know, the Asia HRM is an international organization for human resources professionals to stay ahead of the curve, keep abreast of latest information, trends, and best practices. We focus on leadership development and coaching. And as a continuation of our webinar from last week, this time we are focused on staff engagement. As all of you know that staff engagement is a big topic. I'm sure that every company might have issues with staff engagement. They might be very good at staff engagement already, but there are still areas to improve further. So today we are very glad that we have invited an expert in this area to tell us stories on how to engage employees. She is going to share with us stories of an international payment company. Let me give you an introduction of this expert. Her name is Florence Chow. She is a seasoned HR leader. She has recently retired from PCCW Hong Kong T Group. After leading their group human resources function for over a decade. Ms. Chow has over 40 years of experience in human resources in multiple industries, including financial services, automobile, telecommunications, and technology. She has worked in a number of multinational organizations, including Bank of America, Standard Chartered Bank, and American Express in Hong Kong, as well as Magna International in Canada. Without further ado, I would like to introduce Florence to all of you. Florence, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm very glad today to be able to share with you an interesting story from an international payment company. And so this story is very simple. And after I share with you a story, I hope you can create your own story within your organization to drive, employee engagement. So employee engagement seems to be very imaginable, cannot be touched, and but as you can see in the first slide, and in the next slide, this is a very familiar diagram. I bet to you in the next slide. Yeah. Now, no matter what industry that you're in or what businesses that you are running, you have to manage, your capital. You have to manage your customer base and your brand, the brand that you stand for, the government and the market that you operate within. So, but I'm sure not a lot of the businesses realize that your people can be at the center stage of your business, connecting your customers, connecting your brand. So, what is the magic formula that you can help your people to run the business? So that's in the next slide for you. So next slide, please. So have you asked yourself, and do you know your people well? And have you ever imagined your finance people can do sales, not just putting their fingers on the calculators? And can you see your HR people talk to your customers face to face, not just candidates? Yeah. And do your people know your business model? How does the company make money? And do your people know your business challenges? Who are your competitors? Direct competitors or indirect competitors? So are your people aware of the business results, both the top line and the bottom line, as well as what are your business engines, the driver behind the business engines? And the most important question is the last one. Can you mobilize your staff to become ambassadors of the business? So can they represent the company and talk to your customers face to face? This is a good test. Next slide, please. Now, the key to all these questions that I've just asked is, yes, it can be done. It's doable. But the thing is, you need to do a lot of things before you do your exercise, before you do your employee engagement exercise. The first thing is get them to understand, get them to know your business, to know your business model. How do you make money? And your results, the financials, your obstacles. This forms the framework of the rationale why the company exists and why they operate within your company. Get them to believe in. I've worked in another company that there is a very strong motto: seeing is believing, and so they have to see it, not just listen. You cannot just tell them, and they have to crystallize it. So you need to share with them your company values, what you stand for in terms of under the brand, and what are your mission, what are your objectives, what are your strategy, what are you driving. Yeah, and get them involved. This is a crucial, and get their hands dirty. Get them away from the immediate desk and from the immediate job, involved in projects that might be cross-team projects to get to know more about the company, and put them into actions. Action speaks louder than words. This is again is another principle. Make them feel proud. This is the most essential vitamin. Get them, this is the glue that glue your people to the to the business. And how firm is the glue depends on how well you run your employee engagement, how well you connect them to the business. So, and how can they contribute to your business? This is invaluable. Okay, the next slide, please. Now, the story, this is the story that I'm going to share. And in fact, it happens 15, 20 years ago. And the magic thing about this is it is still workable. And I've seen it, transform and transported in other companies in different shapes and forms. And the key thing is you get your people involved, get your people understand. So, and this story, okay, just put a little background about this story. And it happened. Now we have a lot of electronic wallets in our on our phone, right? But this story happens at the time when we were transforming from a cash-based purchase transactions to physical cards. At that point in time, and there are a number of card payment companies. They have developed some payment gateways now, but we need to use our physical cards to purchase, to make transactions, but physical cards or traveler's checks at that time. So that's the environment that this company operates within. And now this company has a very strong and prestigious brand, which means that their customers are very high spenders, and they provide excellent customer service. There's a concierge that provide excellent service to them, and they issue personal cards, they issue corporate cards, and they provide, they ensure safety of all the cards, which is very essential to card members. Yeah, so. But they have this unique customer profiling, which means they have high spending power. Is a two-edged sword. The reason I said that is they started charging customer a high card member fee, as well as charging high merchant discount rate. And as you all know, and later on, because that became history now, right? As you all know, card member fee is a key thing for card members, whether they want to, whether they want to stay with you or they want to join to take your cards, because a lot of people now have a few, not just one, a few cards in the hand or in inside your phone, and also for the merchants, and if your discount rate is 1% higher, that means you take away a lot of revenue from the merchant. So what happened was, then the company started to see eroding market share, and card members are slowly getting smaller, meaning the some of the smaller spenders, they may leave the cart, and because they don't want to pay the fee. And merchants, when let's focus on the merchants. The merchants, because when you go to a merchant, to a store to buy, and then you use a card, the merchant present what we call the rock, the paper, to the card company, and they get the money back. And now if the discount rate is 1% higher, so that means the revenue is lower, and so that is the key factor for the merchants to slowly become smaller, particularly the small one. The big ones, the high value brands, the big the airlines, they are still there with this car company. But what they found was, seeing as smaller companies, the merchants are slowly leaving them. So high merchant discount rate and low merchant acceptance, it now soon became their business challenge. So the company has, next slide please. The company has then tried to find solutions to this. They have brainstormed and tried to they try to find some ways to but the key thing is, if they move the merchant discount rate, which means it impacts the bottom line a lot. So that is the last step that they want to do. So essentially they want to protect the discount rate. So what happens is they've thought of a magic formula and come up with a magic formula, which is they mobilize everybody in the company, regardless whether you're in HR, you're in finance, or you're a receptionist. And so they mobilize everybody to be their ambassador, which is a very unheard of at the time. But you have to, they did a lot of homework before they get them out as ambassadors. So these are the homework that they have done. So essentially, they explain to the business model to all the staff. Now, they use layman terms to the staff to help them understand how the company makes money. And so essentially, the company make money from card member fee, from merchant discount, as well as from the finance charges, right? So we all know that. But they help all the employees to use layman terms to understand, and then they help them to understand their strengths and the weaknesses. The strength that they have is they have their value customers are very, very high spenders, and so this is their value proposition. And because their card is so prestigious and it's able to attract high spenders to take up the card. And so essentially they come up with a lot of different layer of the cards, and providing a lot of the services, very close to very concierge type of services, and also safety of the card are those that the typical offering. But they also spell out the business challenges to the employees, and they do not hide anything. So it's low merchant acceptance, and some refuse to take the card. And but they still want this segment of the card of the merchants, because they cannot just limit themselves to the big ticket merchants. So then they come up with this idea of mobilizing everybody to go out to the street to meet with merchants, to meet with these customers. And so because they know that the members, the staff, they are also card members. They also use the cards, right? So they understand the psychology. They understand the psychology of the merchants, and also understand the feeling. So this is the exercise that they have come up with, and in driving employee engagement. So it's called merchant acquisition and acceptance day. The next slide, please. And so they put all the ideas in action. Remember, I said they have done all the groundwork, all the preparation work, helping them to understand the brain work. They helping them to understand all the essential business metrics and how the business is being run. So this is an annual exercise. It's an outing. People look forward to that this annual exercise, and because they get to put on the company T-shirts, company windbreakers, and it's a half day off, meaning that they get away from the desk, they get away from the normal work, they go out and meet with merchant customers, and they make it fun, and so it's essentially it's an outing. And so they organize the staff in pairs. So each pair is assigned to a number of merchants, either in a shopping mall or on the street. So if you're lucky, you can get to LVs, in a big mall, or other big brands, or you can get to the the convenience stores at the local in the local community. Yeah. So what they do is they take the list with them. So they talk, they visit according to the list. They visit and talk to each merchant, listen, and they represent the company, right? So they listen to the business, understand the business, because they're given some information about the merchant already. So they know their products, they know their business volume, the scale. Yeah. So they when they talk to the merchant, so they make sense. They articulate the brand value proposition. They provided with some numbers on the spenders, on the big spenders and the big that we have, and then they bring gifts and to for the merchants, as well as for the card members who are using the card at that point in time. So it's a very warm and visit to the merchant. So of course we can't expect that every merchant will sign up immediately in front of our staff. So the staff will also take away feedback from the merchants, or any rejections that they have. Okay, so after coming back, we do debriefs, and so we look at the results and how many merchants we could immediately sign up. How many merchants are loosened and they want follow up? Okay, ask one of your merchant acquisition team to come in, and so they talk about so they can continue our conversation. So at least this is an extra bridge for us to open, for us to recruit more merchants. Okay, next slide, please. Now, what we collected feedback from the staff after each of the merchant acquisition acceptance day. So many of them look at this as a value experience. Like I said, they look forward to it annually, and to go out and meet customers, and they got different perspective about the business. Yeah, here are some of their comments. We're never so close to the business, and they're so excited. We understand the business challenges better, because when you just tell them, they may not able to grasp, but when they are put into action, they actually face the customers, then they feel the challenges. We understand the brand, what it stands for, and we can't believe that we can do sales when they have successfully signed up new merchants, that they feel proud. We can contribute to the business because they drive business growth, and we are part of a big family because it's teamwork. Everyone goes out in pairs, and they come back in teams, and then they look at the results of the day. They feel proud. This pride is essentially the end product of the employee engagement, and because they become connected, they are part of the business. Now, over to you. Now, this is a simple story, and it might not be applicable strictly and unmodified to your business, because you run a different business, and but you can copy the essence and modify it and create your own exercise in your within your organization. So you can help them, but But essentially, remember these things. Help your staff to understand the business model and your challenges. Don't hide anything. Be open with them. Get them involved. Put them into actions. Remember, actions speak louder than words. Mobilize them to contribute to the business. This is the key thing that excite them, ignite them as well. Make them own the business growth because they are part of the efforts to drive the business growth. Make them feel proud. This is the endorphin when you do exercise. And this is truly a demonstration that your people are your most valuable asset, not just hearsay. Thank you. That's all I want to share today. And over to you, Rita.
And
we are ready to answer some questions, right?
yes, that's right. Just feel free to leave your questions or comments in the comment box here. So I do have a question for Florence. Thank you so much. Let me switch it to, yeah, thank you. Okay, so maybe we can, let me see, and go back to our first slide number 1 here. Okay, good. Okay, so you mentioned that pride, right, seems to be the sort of the final product of this exercise, this meaningful exercise. Then did the company measure its impact on the business? I know that employees actually were looking forward to this half a day every year. But in terms of the actual impact on the business, did the company make any measurement?
Yes, like I said, this is an annual exercise. And after coming back, after the teams coming back from the merchant acquisition and acceptance day, we looked at the results. The results are measurable. For example, how many new merchants who have signed up, how many merchants we have we can have follow up. That means they're open to discuss, right? And more importantly, the spending, because like I said, the merchant discount is the ultimate in revenue driver. So the spending these merchants are bringing. And so these numbers are made available to them, and we track and the growth, and employees are seeing them, and employees are rewarded, and based on the fact that they contribute to the growth of the business.
I see. Then may I know the staff, when we need to measure this kind of staff engagement, right? You always say that, okay, use a survey, staff engagement survey, to see how engaged the employee is. For this company, how was the staff turnover rate?
It's relatively low compared with industry at that point in time, and despite the highly competitive environment, because when you have new players coming into the field, they will snatch people from the dominant players, right? So we every it's no you can't get away from zero turnover, but turnover was relatively low, was lower than the industry.
Very good. Right. So I understand that in the earlier in the presentation, you mentioned that having a concept of ambassador, right? Employees and ambassador actually was quite a new concept at that time. Now it's very common. So
Yeah.
how did your company come up with that initiative or that idea?
It's through brainstorming. So we had a brown bag lunch practice at that point, in that company, and essentially we bring challenges, we bring issues, to those brown bag lunch sessions, and we talk about this. And one of the ideas came out, hey, can we go out and some employees said, can we go out and meet with the customers and ask them to sign up, and ask them why they don't sign up. And so this idea was kind of analyzed and then adopted, and so then we mobilized a troop to go out and meet with customers, and it turned out to be a huge success.
But did you get any buy-in from the staff at the very first beginning? Change is something people do
Yes.
not really like it, right? So how did you get the buy-in from the staff?
Yeah, essentially because it's an idea. This is an employee-driven idea, so that is at the first step to get the people's buy-in. Now, if you
Mm,
note, I mentioned people go out in pairs. So this is
mm,
some of the ideas that we get from suggestions from employees as well, because some employees might not be comfortable going out alone to meet with customers because of their objections, right? So we pair them up. We pair some experience with not so experienced colleagues and across departments, so that they do get a chance to acquaint with people from other departments as well. So it's so we adopt a lot of ideas from employees.
that's very nice, very nice. And and in the end, if employees were able to get some business for the company, were they get any rewards?
Now the first reward they get is we announce them, and we
Ah,
out, hey, in the intranet, and so Florence Cha has successfully signed up, and this this big company, or this this brand, or this merchant, and so people clap, and also we give little awards to them, and like we the merchant, or merchant offers and all that.
then what role do you think did the leadership play in the
Mm,
whole exercise?
okay. So employee engagement is not HR duty or HR responsibility. So at that point in time, although it's still very rare, and but HR join hands with the businesses, and so we are not saying that, okay, we are saying employee engagement is every leader's responsibility. You have to have engage employees before you can drive your business well. So that is a very fundamental principle within the organization, and so that's why throughout all levels, throughout all areas, each leader takes it on as their responsibility.
Wow, that's very nice. Then, can you share with us some of the key success factors for staff engagement?
Mm. Okay. You might have heard me saying some of the preparations, right? In fact, it starts with the brain, it goes to the
Mm,
head, and it goes to the
mm,
heart. So the brain,
mm,
meaning we help them understand the business model, the business financials, the challenges, and then the obstacles and all that. And the hands, get the hands dirty, go out and meet with customers. And the heart is where it's the most important thing is. And because people need to understand why, people need to do it
mm.
before they believe in it. So when after you have done the the brain, the hands work, then the heart will come in, because they feel proud. The pride, the employee pride, is the endorphin. After you do the employee engagement exercise, you get the endorphin, and this endorphin glues all the people to the business.
Wow, very nice. I really love your the concept of brain. They involve their brain, their hands, and also their heart, and they feel pride. Yeah, they have the pride of working in this wonderful company. Okay, so it's towards the end of a session. So Florence, any closing remarks for us?
Okay, I think so it's just a bit a few key takeaway. The first one is employee engagement is an exercise. You need to have regular exercise in order to get the endorphin regularly, and getting people involved, and getting connecting people to the to the business. That is the number one magic. And the second is seeing plus doing will give you believing. So they see it in their eyes, they get their hands dirty, then they believe in the business, they then they become true ambassadors of the business, and they can align their personal goals with the company goals. And the third is some companies are doing better than the others, is transparency. Because you open, you let people know your business results, let people know your strategy, let people know your challenges, obstacles that you're facing, and this transparency, and you collect customers' feedback as well, the employee feedback as well. So it's two-way street, mutual transparency. So I think these are the magic formula, and the key takeaway from this exercise.
Wow, very nice. Connecting them with business, seeing is believing, and transparency. Very nice. Thank you so much, Florence, for the wonderful insights and also sharing of this story. I really love this story, especially involving your employees in business, right? So that they know about the business and also the pain experienced by the sales team. So when they go back to their own position, they will know that, okay, this is the pain and also these are the challenges of business. They will feel more involved in the
Exactly.
company business.
Exactly.
That's a wonderful story. Thank you so much for the sharing.
Thank you,
And
Rita.
next week, thank you, Florence. Thank you so much. And next week, we will have a continuation of this series of webinar. And next week, we have invited an expert in another area. Again, is an HR expert. She's going to talk about how to deliver maximum value with minimal resources. And nowadays, right, because of slowing economy, we are all given very limited resources. How are we going to do magic in this area in order to maximize our value? I look forward to her session. Next week, we'll have the session on Thursday at 12 o'clock Hong Kong time. So until then, have a very good week. And thank you so much. See you next week. Bye-bye. Thank you, Florence, again. Thank you.